Blog Talk Radio.
Playing Sports City Chefs from Amazon Music.
Yeah. Woo. Let's go. Y'all need to sit back, listen, enjoy the vibe. Sip something, light it up, enjoy the ride. Cause the Sports City Chefs is on tonight. In the kitchen cooking up, they on the rise. Sports City Chefs, Chefs. Sports City Chefs, Chefs. Sports City Chefs, Chefs. Sports City Chefs. Yes, Lord, we got a brand new president. Joe Biden, we riding, I pray you heaven sent. Word from the wise, my people stay ahead of it. Come on, I've been relevant, trying to survive the elements. It ain't no love in these streets, these dudes telling it. Case go from cold to hot, states evidence. Kaboom, Sports City Chefs is in the room. Cooking up hot topics to put up on your spoon. They well in tune, bloom like a flower in June. Superman verse MF Doom, the clouds loom. So tell a friend it's the Sports City Chefs again. Pay attention, tune in, we on the set again. Sports City Chefs, Chefs. Sports City Chefs, Chefs. Yeah. Cabby, Taj.
Connecticut.
I can't do it no better, Sports City. I'm feeling some type of way in this building, man. Sports City, it's the Roundtable. We about to kick this thing off. We got y'all locked and loaded. The calling number is 929-477-2759. Y'all could have been anywhere else in the world, but y'all are here with Sports City. And let me tell y'all something, Sports City. You know, it's people that, you know, like leave, you know, imprints on your heart, you know what I'm saying? And, like, I go back as far as, like my childhood and, like, going to my early teens, you know, things of that nature, and seeing people that always had, like, that imprint in the game. And the person that I want to mention, and God rest his soul, is Marty Schottenheimer. And this was a coach, like, I remember when we were young, and I'm dating myself. I'm just going to do it, Sports City, because I'm passionate about this guy. You know, like the NFL hits or the bloopers, and you always see Schottenheimer all the time with, like, something that they had to bleep out his words, or he cussing out a referee, or getting Derek Thomas amped up, or Neil Smith, just remembering all of the memories around Marty Schottenheimer, just wanted to see him do well. And that year that they had that run in 2007, it's like I wanted to see what Rivers could have done with LaDainian. LaDainian sat out, and it's like Schottenheimer was that close. He's been that close with the likes of Joe Montana, and Joe Montana falling short. The Phillip Rivers situation and him having a good run with the Cleveland Browns, all of these brought to the NFL. And I do want to give him his moment of silence. I'm going to do this quickly. Moment of silence. Rest in peace to Marty Schottenheimer. All right, Sports City. So, like I said, I'm going to get back into this show because I do have a lot of energy in here, and here's why. I'm going to start off with the guest first. In Sports City, I had a great time last Tuesday, right, with the individual I'm about to mention, and I'm going to plug him a little bit, and he's the host of the Pint Glass Football show. And, you know, I thought that would be like a time where I probably see him down the road, or maybe he'll make another stop somewhere here or there. No, Sports City, he said, listen, let me back in that kitchen. I need a plate. I still got my fork. I cleaned it off, and I need to eat. Welcome, Brad Fowler, back into the Roundtable. How are you feeling this evening?
Feeling great, guys. Really excited to be back on the show with you guys again. Had a blast last week, looking ahead at the big game. With it in the rearview mirror, it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of talk about what happened and break it down with you guys. Just a lot of fun, yeah. So thanks again for having me, and really looking forward to talking with you guys again.
Okay, just sit back in that chair. Just sit back. I'll bring the food out in a little bit. Don't worry. Just sit back. I got it. Just get your napkin ready. You know, your utensils, you got it. I got my co-host with me for the evening, or at least one of them. We got a good amount of people here in the building. My nemesis, my brother, though. I feel like now it's the Joker and Batman. But I got MF Doom, the villain. Barry, welcome to the Roundtable. How are you feeling this evening?
The villain get money like curls, just like they're trying to get a nut like squirrels. I mean, I'm back in the building. I'm here. I'm ready to go, man. And I have to echo your sentiments. Rest in peace to Marty Schottenheimer. We can get into that before we really start eating. But glad to be here with you boys. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, he's going to be a topic. I kind of had energy to like get toward the show because of the people that are here today, but I can't get away from a legend. If people don't feel he's a legend, to me, in my own mind, I feel like Marty's a legend, so I have to give him his just due. Another one of the co-hosts for the evening, we have Big Easy, Eric G in the building. Welcome to the Roundtable. How are you feeling this evening?
Good evening, my brothers. I am doing well this evening. Looking forward to the show tonight. Welcome back, Brad. We're glad to have you. So looking forward to getting some football talk in.
Yeah, thank you. Excited to do it, guys.
Okay, and last but not least, to round out this roundtable, right? Calling out of the 412 and the 703 and the 456 and 789 and the 101 and the 102. Man, oh man, we got Aaron in the building. Welcome to the roundtable. How are you feeling this evening?
You know, man, good dudes. You know you love me like cook food, even though serious gotta move like a crook move. What's going on, gentlemen? It's such a pleasure to be here with you guys on another edition of Roundtable. You know what I'm saying? I see it coming out my eyes, so I got to make myself cry, man. I was wrong on a bunch of stuff. I got to take some heat. Let's go.
Same album that Sirius is referencing to, right? And I always hit him with this line, but it's appropriate at this time. A wise man told me don't argue with fools, because people from a distance can't tell who is who. So stop with the childish stuff, brother. I'm grown. Please leave it alone. Don't throw rocks at that drone. Do not walk at that tree, because that tree's going to fall on you. I don't know why your advisors ain't forewarn you. Please, not Tom. He's not for play. He don't slack a minute. All that thug rapping and gimmicks, try going to end it. All your yapping be finished. You are not deep. You made your bed now. Please don't expose you to the folks that don't know you. Brother, I know you well. All your stolen you well. Twinkle toes, you're breaking my heart. You can't play with me. Go play somewhere.
Go play somewhere. I'm busy.
It's going down.
You only get half a bar. And I won't say the rest, okay? I won't say the rest of the half a bar. You already know how that go down, okay? So now, Sports City, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Tymeless, and we're going to get into this show and get this thing rocking now. I don't even know how to set this thing off because Sports City, it's so much energy inside me. I'm not going to lie, I'm goosebumped up. Like I can't. And I can't wait to peel the skin off of Sirius today. But here go the crazy part, right? Because I was addressed by several chefs that came to me and was like, well, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that. I don't want to take away from them. So I am going to let them get the stuff that they want out here on the table so we can dice this up, because I know these last couple of shows we're going to be winding down on some of the football talk, and I feel bad because we, everything that we will be talking about will probably be, combine if there will be one, and, draft talk, which we're going to have that also. So I don't want to take away from everybody and everything that they want to do, because the main course, that meat, that prime rib and mashed potatoes, is all set for Aaron Simmons. Believe me, I got my napkin tucked in. So I'm going to let Barry let off, and we'll start there. So, Villain, let's hear a couple of things that you had addressed for us today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a Super Bowl to forget for some people. And a Super Bowl to remember for others. Listen, 31-9, the route was on. Tampa Bay took care of business, and, it was not really a competitive game. There's a lot of angles to go in that I can go into, but, listen, I want to get your guys' first reaction to this game. You can go into depth. You can go into different parts of the game, but I mean, really just your overall first impression of the final score of this Super Bowl. Brad, I'll start with you. I mean, what was your first impression of this game and how it just transpired?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just how dominant that defense was for Tampa Bay. I mean, they were going up against an offense that we all know was historically good. This offense was putting up numbers against basically everybody. Just one of the most high-powered offenses we've seen in a really long time in the NFL. And this defense kept them out of the end zone completely. I think Mahomes just threw another ball off his back foot falling away. I mean, it was nonstop. It was unbelievable to watch. And we talked about this, guys. Last week, we talked about that O-line being beat up. And would it play a big factor against this front seven that we know had a lot of talent, had a lot of pass rushers, and that narrative could not have played more true. I could not believe how much pressure Mahomes was under consistently throughout this ball game. He never got comfortable in that pocket. And I was just super impressed by Todd Bowles. In the game plan that he came with, they pretty much took Tyreek Hill completely out of this ball game. Now, he had shredded them in that Week 12 matchup, and Bowles had made the adjustments. He was not going to let Tyreek Hill beat them. You saw Travis Kelce have some stuff underneath. He was going to give them some of that. You could tell the defense was like, look, we'll give you guys, an 8-yard, 10-yard pass underneath, but you're not going to beat us with these 60, 70-yard bombs. And I was just unbelievably impressed by the defense. That was a defensive effort for the ages. I mean, let's face it, guys. That was absolutely amazing what they were able to do. Antoine Winfield Jr. in the secondary, they played a lights-out ball game as well. It wasn't just the front seven, but just an unbelievable effort by them on that side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we kind of talked about how the offensive line was a question mark for the Chiefs, but I think we really underestimated it. Serious. I'm gonna pop it over to you, brother. I mean, what was your first impression, your first takeaway from the epic Super Bowl 55?
Honestly, while I was watching the whole game, I kept waiting for Kansas City to flip a switch. That switch never got flipped. Like, we've all seen them get down before. We've all seen the barrage of points. I mean, we alluded to this last week while we were breaking down this show. Like, Kansas City scored in bunches. And if you look back to the championship run they had a season ago, they were down by double digits in all three of those games and managed to come back and win it, So I was just waiting for them to flip a switch. I didn't think I would ever see a game when that high-powered of an offense got shut out of the end zone. I didn't think I would ever see that. As a matter of fact, the streaker that went across the field got in the end zone before Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City Chiefs offense did, which is something crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I was shocked by what I was watching. But at the end of the day, you got to tip your cap, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a plan. Todd Bowles had a plan. Byron Leftwich, who, is not getting as much praise as I think he should, had a game plan. And it worked to perfection. I don't think Brady got touched. And if he did, it was probably, early on in the first half. But, Gronk got involved, which you all thought would take place. AB got involved. They were able to draw, offensive pass interference and defensive holding calls. Defensive pass interference and defensive holding calls and extend drives. And, the conspiracy theories are, saying that, it was rigged and this, that, and the third. And, I want to subscribe to a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, I really can't, because the score really was not indicative on how bad the Kansas City Chiefs got beat in that game. The score was really indicative to that. So I was impressed. I was very, very impressed. And salute to them, those people who, bet money on it and this, that, and the third. Congratulations to you, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. Like, everybody was just I'm looking through Twitter, I'm looking through Instagram and Facebook and everything. Everybody's got the conspiracy theory, the game's fixed, the refs are in on it, they're the 12th man. But, I mean, listen, the calls were kind of ticky-tack. but a lot of the calls were accurate, and you can't argue with that. I mean, you gave Tom Brady in that offense multiple chances on third downs, fourth downs. You made a fourth and you got off the field on third, I think it was 3rd and 5, and then you had an offsides penalty and gave him the ball right back. It was ridiculous. Like, you got to call that at some point. So, yeah, you can blame the refs, but a lot of this stuff they did to themselves. Eric, I mean, I'll come to you, brother. I mean, we kind of talked about how, Kansas City was that high-powered offense, and Tampa Bay wasn't going to let Tyreek beat them. They were going to play too deep. They were going to play, double coverage and everything and make everything difficult and make them beat them another way. I mean, what was your takeaways from the game on Sunday?
Yeah, first of all, you never want to be in a predicament where you want to. The game wasn't close, so those calls that people are crying about. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was a difference maker in the game. Early on when they had that field goal try and they got that offsides, that was definitely a costly penalty because it set up a touchdown. But Tampa Bay, I mean, they had an amazing game plan. They kept Patrick Mahomes off balance the whole game. They brought the heat all game long on him. They were rushing him, so he couldn't get comfortable back there. They shut down Tyreek, like we all mentioned. And Tampa Bay had a balanced running attack and a good passing attack. Leonard Fournette had 89 yards and a touchdown. Ronald Jones, 61 yards. And then Tom Brady threw for 3 touchdown passes. So they were firing on all cylinders, and that's what I thought was going to happen. Tom Brady getting into a Super Bowl, it's hard to bet against the man. And the team Tampa Bay had, they were stacked on defense and offense, and they came to play. The defense was fired up. Anton Winfield Jr. and Devin White back there, they shut things down. So it definitely wasn't that entertaining of a Super Bowl. But if you're a Tampa Bay fan, it was a really good Super Bowl. And the Tom Brady fans, same thing. We got to witness history. The guy got his 7th Super Bowl championship out of his 10 appearances. And we are never going to see that ever again in our lifetimes, gentlemen. Like, that's a record that's never going to be beaten. Think how amazing that is. 10 Super Bowls, 1 player, and then 7 rings. I mean, it's a rarity for that to happen. It's so hard for that to happen. We were kind of talking about Patrick Mahomes, may have a chance to even get close to that, but still, that's something that's never, ever going to be beaten again. So we witnessed history. Hats off to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For all the naysayers out there that, I mean, there's no leg to stand on. I mean, this guy, whether you like it or not, is the greatest quarterback of all time. And he had another dominant performance at 43 years old in the Super Bowl. So it is what it is, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great – I mean, we're talking Bill Russell era. Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly
the only comparison that you can make. Maybe Kareem because of college and the pro, but we're talking Bill Russell on the pro level. You'll never see that in a lifetime again. We're gonna be old and gray, and our grandkids are gonna ask us, "Hey, do you ever see Tom Brady? Was he the greatest?" And you're gonna have to say, "Yep, he was." I might have dementia by then or Alzheimer's, but I'll remember that Tom Brady was that dude. You know what I'm saying? But the defensive line, we just didn't give them enough credit, and we underestimated how important it is to have your offensive line intact. TP and I, we played offensive line together. I was the guard, he was the tackle, and we protected the blind side for our buddy DH, a friend of the program, and we know as being guys in the trenches how important it is to have an offensive line. You can have all the weapons you want at every position, but if your offensive line doesn't get it done, you look like Patrick Mahomes did in that Super Bowl game, running for your life. Can't even drop back and get into your progression. It didn't matter who was open. I mean, Hardman couldn't get open to save his life, but, Kelsey was open. Tyreek came open in a couple plays, couldn't get him the ball because he's running around scrambling for his life. I mean, TP.
Yeah, and Kelsey had a few big drops in that game, so
absolutely.
there
absolutely.
was, yeah.
I mean, that was crazy. I mean, I've never seen him dropping so many passes, but I think the pressure was on, and Kansas City buckled a little bit. But TP, I mean, what was your impressions of the game? I mean, listen, it was not an entertaining game. Halftime show stunk. I mean, I got to be real. The commercials weren't very memorable at all. I mean, as a whole, it wasn't a memorable. All you're going to remember is that Tom Brady got a 7. I mean, what was your takeaway from the Super Bowl?
It was a movie. I think Russell Crowe was the actor, and there's a guy named Sean Carter, and he took a piece of that movie. It said, "Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you're here? like this is what you live for. You live to see a defense rattle an offense that I thought that could never be stopped. I thought this. Yeah. Barry, every time we come here, I call Kansas City to threaten me. On your mark.
Yep.
Get set. Hike. And as soon as they say hike, you hear the bullet go off. Pow. And it's like everybody off to the races. It's like you don't have a third corner to deal with Hardman. Or if Tyreek go underneath, it's a problem. But then I got to give, the unsung heroes credit. And I was mad that Brad said it because I was going to do it, but Brad got to it. Man, shout out to Todd Bowles, man. Shout out to everything that he went through up here in New York. Couldn't get nothing right with the Jets. Goes down there, and the way that he defensively schemes, if he does it correctly, I still remember when he was in Arizona calling calls and sending those blitz packages and making quarterbacks be erratic and getting them to throw off their back heel. Just think about this, right? I want you to think about, the X's and O's between the X's and O's, right? And I had to, think about it, as of yesterday and today to think about how well and, genius this was. He had those safeties sitting about 25 yards off of the line of scrimmage, knowing that if the corners get beat, Tyreek going to have to run another 10 yards to blow by us, right? He does that about 6 or 7 times. I don't care what human being you are. He's going to breathe heavy. He's going to be getting tired. He's going to wear down because he's trying to get open, right? Then he's sending a package of, at least one guy to get to Mahomes while Mahomes' offensive line is beaten up, right? I didn't even think about this. Mahomes ran over 300 yards with the ball in hand trying to make plays happen. Listen, if it's a running back running a 300-yard day, he's tired. I don't care what's going on. Now, mind you, if he's running 300 yards, he's tired trying to make those bullet passes that he's making or those long bombs is going to burn you. Everything is breaking down. That machine is going to combustibly bust. You know what I'm saying? He's going to lose it. So, shout out to the defensive scheme. That's entertaining to watch them stop that offense. Who was bored? Who was bored? This look, the way that it was going down, y'all know the line. Throw in the damn towel. Throw in the damn towel. That's what was happening right there. And then you seen Draco, a.k.a. Brady, just punching Apollo in the face Apollo couldn't do nothing. He couldn't do nothing. And watching Mahomes not get in the end zone, even at the end of the game, he threw a pick in the end zone. It's that is complete domination. That defense dominated an offense where their slogan comes out big, where it says defense wins championships, and it did it. Now, mind you, I was looking at the offense for Tampa Bay. I'm like, when does Gronk come alive this season? Gronk, we're looking at a shell of Gronkowski. Gronkowski had the mismatch all game long. Brady exposed that. Then it's they start paying attention to him. Then you got Antonio Brown, the dude that you wasn't paying attention to all season long. Antonio's the problem. And Mike Evans is over there drawing attention, and he was the guy that you worried about all season long because he was getting a touchdown pass early in the season. We don't have to go to him. We're trying to win the Super Bowl. We ain't going to what you wrote the bulletin board on what you're going to stop. We're going to get you. And then Fournette just iced the cake making that run everything clicked offensively. Shout out to the defense first. I got to give the defense their credit, taking advantage of that dismantled offensive line that was in front of Mahomes and the scheme that Bowles came up with and having these guys lay off of the receivers, including Kelsey dropping passes. I agree, Kelsey, I don't want to put this on Travis by no means, but Travis did have a couple of big drops to, slow them down or somewhat. And the way that defense did their job of
CP. And their drives.
Right. And the way that Kansas City defense couldn't stop Brady. And just to ice the cake, you had Honey Badger amping Brady up while you down by a lot. Okay, you pumping him up, and he been here. You what? Stop. Now I feel bad for Honey Badger because now Honey Badger is yo, you don't know what Brady said to me. but I won't air it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel bad on what Brady may have said. Like, it's like, I hope it wasn't nothing tasteless. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope Brady didn't go that route. So they said that he texted him, and then people were like, oh, he scripted the text. He didn't mean what he said or whatever. Like, I'm hoping Brady ain't that type of guy. Like I'm defending him to that extent. But shout out to Tampa Bay on the overall dominating effort, and Bruce Arians coming up with a head coaching championship after him being a coordinator, getting it done in Pittsburgh. Bowles going through, and it's the highs and lows in life. You got Bowles that went off in New York and got fired, and got to Tampa Bay and got a championship. You talk about like a success story, that's one right there in itself. So, excellent stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of success stories, TP. I mean, we're talking about Bruce Arians being the oldest coach to win a Super Bowl. Todd Bowles, after that horrendous run in New York with the Jets, coming in, getting redemption. JPP blowing his hand off, coming back, hasn't lost a playoff game in his career, right? Minority staff with Byron Leftwich, Bowles and company, 2 female assistant coaches. There's a lot of good stories on Tampa Bay, and they all kind of get pushed aside because of that man TB12. So it's crazy, but there's a lot of things to be happy about as a fan and to give them their roses. But you hit on one thing, and I want to ask the group. And then I'm gonna give the mic back to you because I know you got a hot dish, and I just want to get these appetizers out. You bring up a good point, TP, and Brad, I'm gonna come to you first because this was kind of weighing on my mind when I was writing my blog about the Super Bowl and what kind of transpired and everything. But I'm gonna ask you first: did Todd Bowles out-coach the prodigal son, Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, or did Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid and Bieniemy out-coach themselves? Did they not make enough adjustments to win this game? I'm going to ask you, Brad, who got the better of that matchup?
Well, I think that it's a complicated question because there's a lot there. But I will say this is one of the few times that I've ever watched a game that Kansas City was in, or Philly back in the day for that matter, where I looked at the game plan, I looked at how it unfolded, and I thought, Andy Reid got out-coached in this ball game. And the offense was really out of sync. They were out of rhythm the entire game, and they really didn't make the adjustments. Now the reason that I don't want to put it all on the coaching staff is because, like we talked about earlier, this team had a banged-up offensive line, and that really, really showed. They had a lot of difficulty getting time to throw the ball, but they really didn't even attempt to run the ball, and I thought that was something that they would try to do to maybe offset that pass rush a little bit and to try to keep them out of those obvious passing situations. And when I look at it, I think that yes, Todd Bowles had an amazing game plan. Like we talked about earlier, he really just said, look, you're not going to beat me with Tyreek Hill, period. It's not going to happen. We're going to bracket you. Like you guys talked about, we're going to play the safeties deep. We're going to play two-man coverage. We're not going to get beat over the top. If you guys want to take those little 6 and 7 yard routes, you can have them. It's not going to happen. And hats off to the players, because you have to have elite players to run a scheme that Todd Bowles ran, and he certainly showed that. But the one thing that I thought from a schematic standpoint is there was multiple times in this game where it kept looking like Kansas City's game plan was, we're going to beat you to the outside. They kept trying these like screens and swing passes and things. They kept trying to get to the edges and try to. And I get that because you have so much speed at wide receiver and you have playmakers out there. You're trying to create plays that way. But it was obvious to me from the jump that Tampa Bay had the speed at linebacker and safety to stop that. They were getting to those plays quickly. They were shutting those plays down quickly. And I never really saw an adjustment. We never really saw them go to the screen game. I was shocked by that. I thought we'd see a lot more screens to try to take advantage of that aggressive Tampa defense, something that Andy Reid has been known for several years in coaching. He's always been a great screen coach. We never really saw that from him and Eric Bieniemy, and we never saw the running game get established. Now, I understand that Tampa Bay has the number one rush defense in the league. Maybe they felt like they just didn't have the horses to pull that off, but I think at some point you have to try to slow down that pass rush. and they got in a hole, and they just weren't ever really able to get out of that funk that they were in. But I think it's, you got to credit the guys on the field. They're the ones making the plays. But at the same time, from an X's and O's standpoint, I thought it was a brilliant game plan by Todd Bowles, and offensively, I thought it was a brilliant game plan from Byron Leftwich. I thought he called an outstanding game, and they did something that I kept talking about last week, probably to a fault. I kept mentioning balance. I said this team is going to have to be balanced. They're going to have to run the ball, and they're going to have to be patient with the run. They're going to have to really keep this Kansas City defense on its heels, and they did that from the jump. From the very get-go, you could tell they were determined to pound the ball and really make this a fist fight. And I was so impressed by the play calling because there was so much bounce. The Kansas City pass rush never really even sniffed Brady. It never once felt like Brady was under pressure. He just always looked like he was in a clean pocket. They got the play action pass going. They got the screen game going for them, and they got those running backs going. And they just it seems like they were always one step ahead of what Kansas City was doing the entire night. And I think that really does come down to coaching. I think Arians and his staff had an outstanding game plan, obviously on the defensive side, but I think the offensive side as well. And if you look at what this team did, every point in that Super Bowl that was scored by Tampa Bay was by someone who wasn't on the team just 11 months ago. Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, and the kicker Ryan Suckup. Every point was guys that they brought in. So I want to take it a step further, and hats off to the GM and this organization as a whole to go into the draft and you land Tristan Wirfs, a big-time tackle who came in and solidified the offensive line. And then in the second round, you take Antoine Winfield Jr., had an interception this game. He was a day-one starter for Tampa. He was a stud all year. And then to go make those off-season acquisitions, these free agents, and bring them in, absolutely hats off to the way they constructed this team, the way they put it together. We know how good Tom Brady was, but the pieces around him were outstanding. The coaching was outstanding. They were clearly the better team. I mean, let's face it, guys, no excuses here. They were the better team, and they showed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're looking at a team that mid-season started picking up the pieces. Fournette was released just before the season, or as the season started, they picked him up. AB, they finally got him into the fold. I mean, if you told me that Evans and Godwin were going to combine for 3 or 4 catches for the game, and they would win this game going away, I mean, you would not place that prop bet. I tell you that right now. So, listen, serious. There was so much to unpack. I totally agree with Brad, but I'd love to get your feedback. I mean, did Bowles outcoach Bieniemy and Arians? Did Arians and Bowles outcoach Bieniemy and Reed, or was that just stubborn? I mean, I look back at the Super Bowl from 2 years ago where Belichick completely outcoached Sean McVay, and Sean McVay was stubborn to a fault and wouldn't adjust to what he was being given. I kind of see that Sunday. Do you agree? What's your take on it?
Honestly, man, I don't see that. And, my man Brad alluded to it a minute ago. It's very difficult to do what you want and work your stuff if your quarterback is running for 300-plus yards from scrimmage. I mean, it's very difficult to pull that off. I will say this, drops and things of that nature and penalties kill drives on offense and help drives on defense, and the Kansas City Chiefs had those in spades. Even when Mahomes ran around and, did his Houdini act, he was putting the ball in places where his guys normally make those catches, and they just did not on Sunday. We could sit here and wax poetic until, tomorrow morning about the lack of running game, but let's keep it a buck. The Kansas City Chiefs really bread is not buttered running the football. They like to spread them out and throw the routes and throw the ball. I will say this though, if Tampa Bay was going to give you, the 5 and 6 and 7 yard dink and dunk passes, we need to, get Patrick Mahomes mature enough to take what the defense is giving him. So many times he's had so much success in his early career that, the long bomb and the 15 to 20-plus play option is available. In this game, it was not. If you complete 2 6-yard, passes, that's the first down. You're moving the chains. And that's something that Tom Brady has perfected to a fault. He didn't go down the field too often. He didn't. You didn't see a 45-yard play. You didn't see a Kansas City Chiefs defender fall down at the end of the half, and you got a guy in the end zone. You didn't see that. But what Tom Brady did was he just took what the defense gave him. They gave the underneath stuff. He put the ball in his playmaker's hands and let him go to work. And honestly, that's what took place. I mean, Gronk had 2 touchdowns and 7 to 20 some odd yards receiving. And the game. Antonio Brown, the guy you mentioned, who was on the roster a season ago, got himself in the end zone. He caught a couple passes all on slants. The touchdown he got was on a scramble drill. You know what I'm saying? So, we got to understand that, there were plays to be made. And unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs didn't make them. But I can't really say that, Bieniemy and Reed were outcoached by Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians, even though the score would indicate that. I mean, again, styles make fights, bodies make fights, and unfortunately, in order for the Kansas City Chiefs to go into Tampa, win that game with the offensive line issues that they had was a tall task. Not making excuses or anything like that, but it was a tall ask. And unfortunately, it just wasn't their day.
I kind of see where you guys are coming from, but I look at the second half where Kansas City got the ball back, and they started to run the ball a little bit. Hilaire was moving. He was popping a couple runs. I think one was a draw, one was just a straight run, and they were giving them the run. Obviously, they're playing too deep. The safeties are almost 20 yards off the ball. They're not even trying to be in the box to respect the run game. The coverage dictated running the ball. They had a couple runs, and then they went away from it. They got desperate. Like they were just stubborn in the fact that they were the Chiefs, that they were going to get the ball downfield. They were going to make plays like you guys alluded to earlier. And they didn't run the ball. They had some success, and they didn't keep running the ball. That's where I thought they outcoached themselves. I mean, Eric, what do you think? Did Bowles get outcoached, Bieniemy and Reed, or was this just like them outcoaching themselves?
Hey, you just brought up a valid point with which I agree with 100%. The Chiefs just counted on, okay, we're going to beat them with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey and these screens, and Tampa Bay was prepared for that, so they didn't adjust. Edwards-Hilaire, was averaging 7.1 average per carry, so why wouldn't they give him the ball more? Especially the way things are going. Okay, they're reading what's going on. They're stopping you from doing what you do best. You got to adjust. So I think if Kansas City would have had a balanced attack and ran the ball a lot more, 9 carries he got. So, you got to have, this is the Super Bowl. So when you become one-dimensional, it's going to be a long day, and that's what happened. They became one-dimensional. Tampa Bay was ready for it. They kept bringing the heat. Patrick Mahomes couldn't get comfortable. He was, under attack. And they did not run the ball. So if they would have ran the ball more, this could have been it would have been a more exciting game because the offense would have opened up more. But Tampa Bay just sat back and, okay, they're not going to run the ball, so we're just going to shut down their normal weapons. And that's why we had the 31-9 ball game. But when you have a guy that carries the ball 9 times and is averaging 7 yards per carry, why aren't you giving him the ball more? Mahomes threw the ball 49 times to 9 carries from Edwards-Hilaire. So, that played a big factor in the game.
A big factor. What'd you say?
Go ahead, sir.
But so they definitely got outcoached. That definitely they went away from. I mean, they became one-dimensional, and that blew it for them.
The score indicated that, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I kind of get your point.
Yeah, that's how they were outcoached, and because they went away from the running game. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, they
didn't adjust.
They have
did not adjust.
One of the problems, though, serious. They had a running game going. They didn't keep it going. They didn't keep the linebackers honest. The linebackers were just sitting in the middle waiting for Kelsey to come to them. They didn't have to worry about the run game at all. I know they were down big, but why are you down big? Because under like a minute to go, you're calling timeouts to stop the clock to give Brady chances to kill you. And what did he do? He threw a touchdown because you were stopping the clock. I mean, that's getting out-coached. I'm sorry. Like, not keeping with the running game, crap. Calling timeouts thinking you're going to get the ball back when you're already getting the ball back to open the second half with less than a minute to go. What are you going to do with about 40, 30 seconds and no timeout? Like, that's getting out-coached. I'm sorry.
100%.
I mean, seriously, we're going to agree to disagree on there. We're going to agree to disagree there. We got a lot to get to. I just can't honestly say. I mean, valid point. But the thing is, styles make fights, and you really. I mean, yeah, I understand that Edwards-Helaire was popping this, that, and the third. But by the time Edwards-Helaire was popping this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying, the Tampa Bay defense really didn't give a flying heck about it, because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we understand what the Kansas City Chiefs do. You know what I'm saying? So, and the thing is, they were down multiple O-linemen. Like, again, you and Thomas played offensive line. If you guys are not there, your offense does not move the ball as successfully as it would have been if you guys are there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you got to do what brought you. You got to do what brought you to the dance. And again, I understand that the running game is sets up the play action and it brings up the linebackers. You know, as someone who played both the Mike and the Will linebacker, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's very difficult for me to put the blame on the Chiefs coaching staff when, you know what I'm saying, you were really dealing with a short deck to begin with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if this team, you know, was going to line up and beat you, you know what I'm saying, you're going to go down, you know, slinging that rock, trying to get Tyreek Hill involved, trying to get Kelsey involved. And again, shout out to Todd Bowles. He had a heck of a game plan. In my opinion, should have won the MVP of the Super Bowl instead of TB12, but they don't give it to coaches. But had a heck of a game plan.
Kansas City should have adjusted. When they saw that going on, they should have adjusted. They did nothing to combat that at all. And then, I mean that timeout, that was a horrible call. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, well, what are they doing? Are you kidding me? You're giving this guy time, and look what happened. It bit him right in the butt again. So
and the running game was moving, to begin the third quarter. There was plenty of time. Let it run out.
Let the time run. Let him spike the ball or something. Don't call a timeout and make it easy for him.
Yeah, you gave him a chance to get 7 instead of getting out of there with a field goal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly
what they did.
Is a big difference. 17 to 6 is a big difference than 21 to 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's, I mean, you know, and TP, I'll let you go. Microphone check 1, 2. What is this? But I'll let you go, and then you can take it. I mean, listen, you know, Kansas City was down 3 Pro Bowl linemen. 3 Pro Bowl. Let's put that into perspective. 3 Pro Bowl linemen. Okay, and being a New York Giants fan, I know what it feels like not to have an offensive line. It ended Eli Manning's career, and Saquon Barkley looked human because he had no offensive line. So I get it. So there wasn't a lot Kansas City could do. But, I mean, make adjustments. So, you know, shorten the passing game. You know, you can't run play action, but you can do stuff to give him, not to make him go through 3, 4 progressions, make him go 1, 2, 3. They didn't adjust. TP, I'll let you take it, and then you can do your thing. Like, who got the better? Did Bowles get did Bowles out-coach Arians and Bieniemy, or was it the other way around?
No. Slow down. See, they got you so hot in the kitchen. I got you, Barry. Slow down. you got Bowles and Arians together. You don't have Bowles and Reed together or Bieniemy. I'm gonna get these teams together.
I know.
I
got them all together.
Just come back to
me.
I got you. See, it's hard. It's hard to take off this blazer and loosen up the tie. It's hard to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I got you. Now, I am gonna do this in the non-popular way, right? And I'm going to allude to a way that Sirius did not get to, but it's on the side of Sirius. I know that Andy Reid and Bieniemy overthought this. Like, they thought that they could win doing what they wanted to do. And here's why. I want you guys to think back about 3 or 4 years ago, and I know I may make my brother Eric over there real mad, but I have to do this. There was a guy named Kyle Shanahan who had the lead and had Devontae Freeman going off, averaging 7 to 9 yards a clip up against the New England Patriots defense. And we like, wait, hold on. They got the lead. They up 28-3, and Brady just threw a pick six. It's like everything's working. And then y'all start passing the ball. It's like, wait, hold on. Wait, what's going on? And Shanahan like, well, we're going to keep passing the ball. And you got Matty Ice back there, damn it, threw a pick. He almost fumbled. And they just, everything just unraveled. It's like, go with what's working because your offensive line has issues up front. And Hilaire was even trying to bring the noise. You seen Hilaire trying to truck people. He done trucked the dude. He put his shoulder into a dude and ran him over. I'm like, well, damn, like, that's what football about. Like, get this defense to believe that we need to stop Clyde Hilaire. And then next thing you know, this offense will open up in the passing game. It was like, nope. They tried to put scotch tape on a leak. And let's hurry up and start throwing that ball deep. And they thought that they could get to Tyreek and Hardman and them, and they couldn't. And that defensive line was bringing pressure. I knew it was bad when, Sue wasn't really getting to the quarterback all season long this year. Sue got to Mahomes and got that jacked up sack tackle on him like what he used to do in Detroit. And he didn't get that all season long. Like, they was coming for Mahomes like it was a bounty on his head. Like they really outthought themselves. I really have to look at the coaching style. And then you look at the same situation with San Francisco last year with the same culprit, with Shanahan doing that same situation, up 10 with 6 minutes left. And all they got to do is run the ball, because even Honey Badger said when they stopped running the ball, he was like, thank God. And this is up against the Kansas City defense. You know what I'm saying? But knowing Brady's a better quarterback than Garoppolo could get this done efficiently, They went against themselves and got this figured out in a different way, a different manner. So I'm definitely giving this to the mind of Andy Reid and Bieniemy. Not to say that I'm picking on them, because I respect Andy Reid a ton. I respect Bieniemy. I'm mad that Bieniemy can't get a job. And he's gonna have to be, and not like it's a bad thing for him to be underneath Andy Reid again, but it's unfortunate the way that they're doing him. But I think that they overcoached this situation. And don't get me wrong, Bowles had the genius scheme. Like, that was genius of what Bowles did. Genius. I'm not taking anything away from what Bowles did defensively, because that's what won the game. But they were in a hurry to scramble to try and put points on the board, because in my head I'm like, well, shoot, there was a game that they played. They put up 28 points in the in a quarter. It wasn't the fourth quarter. I think it was the second quarter. They put up 28 points. But all it was pass after pass after pass after pass after pass. And they thinking that they could just hurry up and get those scores done, when Bowles is dropping dudes back and sending the noise at Mahomes and putting Mahomes in deep waters. So I'm going on the side of where Sirius should have taken it. Sirius didn't take it there. But I do have a lot of people called in queue, and boy, I think the smoke was coming from the kitchen. I have calling out of the New York region. I have Dave in the building. Welcome to the Roundtable. How are you feeling this evening?
What's up, guys? Good evening. So Ty touched on what I was about to talk about before when you were talking about the GOAT. I was so interested about what was going on there with the Honey Badger. I was like, I didn't really know. But to answer your question about the coaches, so and I know Barry, I know the villain feels you on this. So for me, the thing that kind of blew me away is a two-time Super Bowl winning coach, Steve Spagnuolo, was all of a sudden like just a defense that was terribly prepared. That defense. I mean, I know the defense that defense on that team is not the story of that team. I understand, but they had been playing well playoffs pretty much straight through up until the Super Bowl, and then just terrible. Like, and Tony Romo did say, oh, they like to they like to do that, and I guess he's dropping his little knowledge by throwing some shade against the Chiefs, saying that they do like to commit penalties in the secondary. I don't know. I mean, we only know really what they see us with the cameras, but be that as it may, for a Super Bowl winning coach like Spagnuolo, as we're talking about coaches, to have his defense not prepared at all, they didn't even give the team a chance by having a good, solid defensive game plan together. And as far as the offensive coaching plan, I know you want to say Reed and Bieniemy, but I feel like these guys, the whole team wasn't. It's more Reed because it was like the whole team wasn't prepared. And amen, everyone said it. I'm just echoing what people said. Bowles was masterful.
Okay, we do have another caller in queue. We do have another caller in queue calling out of the New York region. We have James in the building. James, welcome to the Roundtable. How are you feeling this evening?
I'm doing good, Ty. How about yourself?
I see you pumping your hand up left and right trying to get in here. So I know I got to get you. The kitchen is smoking right now. From what you heard, got you going crazy outside the kitchen doors.
Well, so first of all, it wasn't that either coach got out-coached. That's not what happened. What happened was there was 2 injured offensive tackles on the side of the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no out-coaching a supreme deficit in talent. And that's all that – I mean, that's the primary thing that happened in the Super Bowl was that two deficits on the offensive tackle positions which led to a mismatch in that portion of the line. So now, not only can't Patrick Mahomes really do what he does best, which is create time, it leads to sacks, which leads to fourth downs, which leads to punts. There was no way that Andy Reid or Eric Bieniemy could have schemed that away, not without severely diminishing their passing game. So, yeah, they could have continued the run, and they figured that out a little too late, I think. They should have started running a little bit earlier, but that was the only thing that they did, legitimately wrong as far as scheming for this game and for this team. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator, and if he was not on the Jets, he would have been a great head coach. And he'll probably get a second chance when people realize that fact. But at the end of the day, you can't put this on coaching. This was an injury issue, not a coaching issue.
Well. I got to take your plate and throw it on the floor. I'm sorry. How can you say that is not coaching? You had 2 weeks, and you knew your offensive tackles were not going to play in this game, and that's the game plan you came up with? Let's drop them back 5 yards and get the ball downfield. And then when that doesn't work, you don't make any adjustments to try to get out of that offensive game plan, and you're telling me it's not coaching, it's just the injuries?
So what is your adjustment?
Coaching.
What is your adjustment to that?
Run the football. Run the football.
But they were able to do that today.
They were able to do that. Run the football. Exactly. It's working.
They didn't do
that defense
consistently,
off
though.
balance.
The entire first half, they ran the football, but
Come on, Dave.
Yeah, by the end of the game.
They were running the ball well. And we're not talking about Mahomes running for his life, scrambling for first downs. We're talking straight handoffs. They had draw plays that were working. They didn't go back to it. They're playing 6 in the box saying, I know you're not going to run the ball. We're going to play coverage. And they still did nothing to adjust. I get it. Their tackles were hurt. They had 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen not in the game. I get it. But that's the game plan that you came out with in the first quarter? Come on. And you knew who you were going against. That defensive line is one of the better defensive lines in the league. You could put it up against any defensive line. Like, come on. You got Barrett. You got JPP. You got Villa. You got Sue. That's a one from all across the board. That's as strong as the defensive line you're going to play. And you knew those guys were playing. None of those guys were saying they weren't going to play. You knew they were going to play. You knew you had no offensive line. That's the game plan you came up with. That's getting out coached. I'm sorry.
That's not getting out coached. I mean, because
let's say
they ran that up the middle. How many times did you see in that game? Because they did get a few good clips when they thought they had to throw the ball. That's what happened in the third quarter. In the third quarter, they were busting off like chunks. But that wasn't going to happen the entire game. And they didn't have enough time with how far they were down and the fact that their defense couldn't keep the offense off the field.
That's the bigger story here. That's the bigger story.
That is the bigger story.
It's Spags, like the man said a second ago, and Spags and that defense was able to get off the field on third downs and make things difficult. Keep in mind, gentlemen, the Kansas City Chiefs gave off over 100 yards in the first half and penalty yards alone. That's drive extending plays. You can't give Tom Brady extra possessions. You can't give this brother extra time to surgically embarrass you like that. And I'm going to say this, and then we can keep it moving. The issue with the thinking that you can just line up and run the football is if you go back to how they played before. Keep in mind, they are aware that all 3 of their offensive linemen are out. So you have to do what brought you to the dance to begin with. You go back to what's familiar. You go back to saying, okay, the last time we played these guys, my man had a career day. Let's see if I can catch lightning in a bottle again. The player didn't change. The players on the other team didn't change. My guy is better than your guy. Mano y mano. My guy's better than your guy. Tyreek Hill can beat 2 deep coverage. We've seen him do it all year. Travis Kelce can beat underneath stuff. We've seen him do it all year. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I understand that you, as a coach, you got to, try to make chicken salad out of chicken stuff. But on the biggest stage, and we said this in this building several times as we broke this down, on the biggest stage, at the biggest moment, you have to do what brought you to the dance. Because when you start trying to do stuff differently, that's when mistakes start. Unfortunately,
it wasn't working. It wasn't working. Listen,
and Mahomes threw 2 interceptions.
They did what they did. Go ahead.
Nothing that they would have done Sunday would have worked. Nothing that they would have done Sunday would have worked, Dylan. Nothing. That was a team that unfortunately was not going to win that game.
Come on, I'm not buying that serious. Listen,
if they would have rushed the ball more than 9 times, they could have kept Tampa Bay's defense guessing. They became completely one-dimensional in the same. You can't
even in the
do
passing
that.
game. They weren't even mixing up the passing game. Yeah. They were doing the same thing.
You run the ball, then those options would be open, folks. Then Tyreek Hill would be able to break some, and they would be getting open more. But when they're just sitting back going, okay, we know exactly what they're doing every play, you got to adjust. You can't just keep going.
But they did that in the third quarter, though. They did that in the third quarter, and it still didn't work.
Yes,
they still didn't
run the ball, and it worked,
quarter.
James. They ran the ball
9 times the whole game rushing.
Listen, if you're just dropping back the pass, you're just giving the defensive lineman a free license to go right up the field and get in his face, and that's exactly what they did. If you have to respect the running game, they have to play their gaps. They have to play their assignment.
Exactly.
Linebackers have to step up, and that's it. They didn't do that. That's the point. I'm sorry, serious. You can't tell me doing what they did to get to the dance was going to win them the game. It wasn't winning them the game. Guess what? What got them to the dance in the first game they played Tampa Bay didn't work at all in the second half. They had a half and a full game adjusted to the Kansas City passing game. Tampa Bay did not adjust at all. That's why they lost the game. I'm sorry.
They adjusted the entire third quarter, and it still didn't work. It's because they got outplayed.
They were driving
they
down
got
the field,
out-talented.
and then they got pass happy inside the red zone, settled for a field goal, and then missed it on fourth down. You convert those to the touchdowns, it's a much different football game.
You can't settle for field goal. You can't settle for field goal. I will give you that.
Everybody settle down, because we got a guest still here. But I feel like he's at home because he's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? We still have people here. We have people at this table now. All right. So as I get you guys to put your back in the chair, because you guys are standing up at the round table. Like, you guys are no longer sitting. You guys are standing up, and it's all conscious, and I have to get these people to settle down. Now, before I get to the stuff that I want to bring here, because, oh, yes, I'm not going to hide it any longer. Aaron, you are going to get the skin torn off of your back today. So I'm not even playing around with you. But we do have quarterback issues going on in the NFL that I do want to talk about, and I want to get to our guest, Brad, how you feel about what Russell Wilson said today, basically stating that there are issues going on in Seattle. We also have an issue going on in Dallas, where Dallas tried to come up with a hype tape already for next season, and guess who wasn't in the tape at all? Dak Prescott. And then we have this situation going on with Carson Wentz saying that he's been contacted by two teams in the NFL. We have three quarterbacks right now that are headline material today. And these guys are eating right now off of who got out-coached or who didn't get coached, and I love it. Now, that's the bad part. Like, I got to move because I got people that haven't even spoken in quite some time. So I got to get people back in here. But, Brad, your thoughts on at least what's going on with this quarterback carousel, where none of these guys have moved, but it looks like imminently something may happen. I think Dallas may end up franchise tagging Dak, but I don't. To me, I'm nowhere near a Cowboys fan, but I don't think Dak settles for that. Like I think Dak probably will end up playing for the tag, but he's out of there immediately unless they throw him some comfortable money that makes him be quiet, like he knows where the body's buried at in Texas.
Yeah, no, I think that to start with what you were saying there, the Dak Prescott situation has really, really gotten messy in Big D. Mm-hmm. And it's been messy for a while now because they've been trying to hammer out this long-term deal for a couple of years, it seems like, and they just haven't been able to come to terms. Dak wanted the longer-term deal. Jerry didn't want to give him the years. There was a lot of stuff in the news going back and forth with them. And I think I understand it from Jerry's standpoint because he has to look out for the best interest of the team. He's got to try to make the cap as friendly as he can for the rest of his team. He's got a lot of guys that have to get paid, and he knows that if he gets a big deal with Dak, that it's going to make that difficult. But I'm starting to wonder if they've soured on this because you're right. If he has to play under the franchise tag again here next season, I think it could really make things really messy for Dallas, and you might see a guy like Dak Prescott go somewhere else. And so,
yeah, but Brad, wait,
what
Brad,
do you have?
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you. Who does he make it bad for if he pays Dak? He already paid Zeke more than Dak has gotten. He's already paid Tyrone Smith more than Dak has gotten, and Tyrone Smith has not been playing for the past 2 or 3 seasons dealing with injury. Like, we're looking at one of the offensive lines that we thought were probably the best offensive line in the league due to paper, but they've been injured or off the field. They haven't, I guess I more or less want to say the best ability is availability. You know what I'm saying? So they're not out there to give their effort for this team, so they can't get mad if Dak gets paid. And you looked at their second-string quarterback in Andy Dalton, which I don't even know if Andy Dalton keeps the job, or DiNucci being the third guy, or Garrett Grant, or whoever his name, Garrett Griffin coming in there, the quarterback. They don't have a future. If Dak left, if Dak sat out this season, Dallas would cry. Oil fields would blow up in Texas. Like, they need to get this figured out. Like I don't know who they would be upsetting if Dak got paid.
Well, one of the issues that you brought up there is key. They made a huge mistake, a cardinal sin in the NFL. You never pay a running back. I don't care how good Zeke has been. The wheels clearly appear like they're coming off for Ezekiel Elliott. He doesn't look nearly like the player we saw a couple years ago. And you never pay running backs. I'm a strong believer in that. You don't take running backs in the first round, and you don't pay running backs big money because these guys have a short shelf life. They're not going to be guys that generally, I mean, yes, there's exceptions, but generally these guys aren't going to have 8-10 year, Pro Bowl level careers. Usually, even the best ones, you're looking at a short prime. You're looking at 3 to 5 years where they're really good, and then the wheels come off. So I think that deal really bit Dallas in the backside. I think that really was a bad deal. The Tyrone Smith deal, I understand wanting to pay a left tackle of his caliber. It's unfortunate what the injuries have kind of done to his career, and that one's kind of backfired on them as well. But this is why you pay the quarterback first, and I think it really comes back to that because I think you made a great point. I think they needed to get this deal done a long time ago, and they got hung up on some of the numbers and the length of the deal is, from what I was told, was a big issue with Dak and his side. And so they're really in trouble here because we know without a quarterback you can't win in this league. This is not the days of Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson winning Super Bowls with great teams. Those days are long gone here. You need to have a top 10, top 12 guy. You need an upper tier guy. You can't win with average quarterbacks. I don't care how great your team is around you. I mean, look at Tampa Bay last year. They were 7-9 with Jameis Winston. They bring in Brady, they win the Super Bowl. We know how important that position is. And so I think Dallas is really in a tough spot here because if you go away from Dak, now what? What do you do? Who do you're going to have to draft another quarterback and roll the dice there? We know how iffy the draft can be. So I think they're in real trouble here. And if they don't hammer out a deal with Dak soon, I think it could really come back to haunt them. You brought up the Russell Wilson thing. I don't really blame Russell Wilson for thinking that maybe it's time to move out of Seattle or at least exploring the idea of that because the offensive line has been terrible. And right now he's on pace to become the most sacked quarterback in NFL history. Now think about that for a minute, guys. This is an athletic quarterback.
Wait, hold on. To be fair, though, Russell scrambles like crazy. Like, he'll do that while he has time, too. So, let's be fair, though. Like, he
scrambles and gets killed. He's still getting killed. He's running for his life.
I think you're right. I think to a certain degree it's a double-edged sword because when you have an athletic quarterback, a lot of times guys like that try to buy extra time with their athleticism, and sometimes it comes back to bite them, and they get sacks that sometimes you can put on the quarterback. But let's face it, that O-line has been pretty bad for several years here. And it's certainly not always on Russell. There's a lot of times where he's dropping back and he's facing pressure early and often in ball games.
Yep.
The running game hasn't been the same since Marshawn Lynch. We really haven't seen a strong, consistent running game from Seattle. We know a quarterback's best friend is a strong running game and an offensive line, and it feels like he really hasn't had those two things. Now throw in the fact that those Legion of Boom days are long behind us. The defense doesn't look as good. It really felt like in Seattle this year, it just felt like a one-man band. It felt like he had to play the drums, the guitar, he had to sing, play the piano. It was too much. There were so many things that they were asking Russell to do, and he had to carry them. Every game, it felt like he had to be perfect for them to be in the ball game. And so I don't blame him for having frustrations, and I think Seattle is going to have to address that because you cannot let a franchise quarterback like this get disgruntled. We're definitely seeing a shift in the NFL right now. It certainly feels different than what we used to see. And it's almost like they took a page out of the NBA's book. Because if you look at the NBA model, the power is really in the players' hands. And we've seen this now for the last decade or so where guys like LeBron and Durant, they're making these moves. They're the ones pushing the envelope. They're forcing trades. They're forcing their way in and out of franchises and building teams around them essentially on their own. And I think we're starting to see it with Deshaun Watson and his frustration in Houston. We're starting to see it from a lot of these quarterbacks, Carson Wentz. And a lot of these guys, they're starting to see that, hey, we're the face of the franchise. We're the most important position on the field. Heck, we're the most important position in sports. And they're starting to flex their muscles and say, hey, why should I waste my career and play for some crappy franchise that can't build around me? They know how important it is to have an O-line, to have a defense, to have a running game, to have wide receivers. They need those things. This is not a one-man team out here. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, look at Tom Brady last year. He had basically nothing around him in New England, and he comes down to Tampa Bay because he says, give me some weapons, give me some playmakers. You know, he knew that he needed those guys around him, and he's the greatest of all time. So all these quarterbacks, they're starting to realize it. They're starting to kind of push their way into different scenarios and trying to push the envelope into different situations that can help them. And quite frankly, I don't blame them.
Wow. He's cooking. look, see? And y'all had him sitting on the sideline. He couldn't wait to get that off of him. See, I'm telling you, we got fire here. Okay, so I think that's you, Barry, speaking, trying to get out?
No, that's me. I'm
okay. Go ahead.
But really, in truth, it's Russell's own fault. It's Russell's own fault that he doesn't have anything around him. You know what you do if you want actual talent around you? You do what Mike Evans did. He went to his front office and said, "Take my money, keep the team together." That's what he did. And quarterbacks seem to be the only position in professional sports. Yes, it's the most important position in professional sports, but it's also the only position in professional sports that does not sit there and say, you know what, I should take less money to win a championship, to keep my money coming in by keeping me protected. And this is a complete complete analogous situation to what Dak Prescott is going through right now. Dak Prescott saying, hey, I want my money. But he cannot win in this league without the other pieces around him. He can't.
Okay, but let me answer that quickly.
But the Dallas Cowboys cannot afford to pay him. They can't pay him another franchise tag, and they can't afford to pay him what he's asking for, which is $30 million a year, which is actually surprisingly less than what he would get even after his second franchise tag. This is where Dak Prescott's position doesn't make sense. Like, he's asking for a long-term deal with more money than he would get under the second franchise tag, which is 120% of what he would have gotten this year. So where is Dallas's incentive to pay him long-term at $30 million a year if they can franchise him again this year for $120 million a year, or not 120, 28, I believe, is the number for his franchise tag this year, and pay $2 million less, and if he gets injured again, his position becomes significantly less valuable. There's no reason for Dallas to do that.
Yeah, and there's no reason for a quarterback to take less money. That's not the name of the game right now. I agree with you. They should take less
the name
money
of the game
to
right
build
now.
a team.
Like, no, this is the name of the professional football. This is the general manager's game right now. Is that you see every GM in the league trying to unload these bloated contracts that they paid to these mediocre to okay quarterbacks that just got off of their rookie deals. Your Jared Goffs, your Carson Wentz's. I mean, if you don't have Drew Brees, if you do not have Andrew Luck, even though he's not in the league anymore, if you do not have Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Aaron Rodgers, if you do not have one of these top upper echelon quarterbacks in the league, every other team is looking to dump that salary before it becomes a problem. And the fact the Lions were magnanimous enough to take on Jared Goff's contract, it's because they're not going to win the next 2 years, so they're going to take on that. And this goes all the way back to the Brock Osweiler contract that was so bloated to his actual value as a NFL quarterback that teams had to give up money in another NBA-style move to drop that salary. And this is what teams are starting to realize right now, is that quarterbacks are more often than not overpaid in today's NFL. Now, I'm not saying that Russell Wilson's overpaid, although he kind of is, but not by a lot. But every quarterback in the league is overpaid at this point. And
yeah, in general, the quarterbacks are overpaid. But you know why they're overpaid? Because a good quarterback is hard to find. If you actually find a quarterback,
but
you have to pay them.
You don't exacerbate that.
If there's no team, if the Cowboys won't pay Dak Prescott, I bet you there's a Jets team that would pay for Dak Prescott. I bet you there's any other team that doesn't have a quarterback that would pay for him. Because the quarterback is hard to find.
You know what the Jets do? The Jets lose. That's why the Jets lose. It's
so
because
what?
they don't know how to manage the salary cap.
You don't have a quarterback in this league, you don't win. When quarterbacks get hurt, your season's over. Ask Dallas, okay? Ask any team that loses a quarterback during the season, your season is over. The only one that didn't do that was the Eagles when they lost Carson Wentz.
You know what you do instead? You draft a quarterback. You draft a quarterback and you take that sweet rookie deal on a above average quarterback.
Sometimes you get high enough in the draft where you can get that quarterback, or you have to trade your whole draft to get up in the draft to find that quarterback that may be good, and then that maybe you have to pay like Carson Wentz, and then maybe that contract turns into a bloated contract, and then maybe you got to trade him with draft picks to get rid of that contract.
Or what you do is
if
you
have a
don't
quarterback
pay them what they want. You just
on
don't
your
pay
team
them what they
already
want.
that you're going to pay, you got to pay him, and that's the name of the game.
You trade him.
I mean,
you find that last year of his at that last year of his contract, if you know he's going to ask for something way more than his value, then you trade him and you get those 2-3 extra first round picks, and you do it again.
And then meanwhile you're not.
The idea of the and don't get me wrong. A star quarterback, a Russell Wilson, an Aaron Rodgers, a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, those are real rarities in those leagues. Those are like those guys, you pay them their money and you feel good about it. But the Jared Goffs of the world, the Carson Wentz's of the world, the Dak Prescotts of the world, you do not pay them their money. You let them go.
Why don't you pay Jared Goff and Carson Wentz? Why wouldn't you pay?
Because they're not good enough to pay them that money.
No, wait, James. Right now, you don't pay Carson Wentz because he stinks right now. But a couple of years ago, when he was an MVP candidate, 11-1 in the league, about to lead that team to the Super Bowl, you're telling me that wasn't a good investment, paying him that money? You're telling me a couple of years ago, when Jared Goff was leading the Rams to the Super Bowl, that wasn't a good investment?
Because
they stink now. But when you're doing that contract and you got a quarterback in-house, you got to pay him.
In business is a term. It's called opportunity costs. Opportunity cost is where you spend money. You have the money you can afford to pay in one area, but that means you do not pay in any other area. So, like, for example, if we take a look at the Seattle Seahawks, they have to pay in the Russell Wilson area. Don't get me wrong. Russell Wilson definitely deserves the money. He is probably and Deshaun Watson deserves the money. Patrick Mahomes deserves the money. Saying they don't. Those particular quarterbacks do not deserve the money. But when you spend money in those areas, you cannot spend in other areas. That is the problem with not a problem. It is a design. It's a design thing, and they hard cap.
Everybody knows that. That's why you have to draft smartly. Their players come in the draft every year.
Yes,
they're not coming in there that they can't play in the league.
That's the part that they don't get. This is the part that they don't get. They do not get that once you do, so if you invest in a quarterback, that means you have to make up that salary, that extra salary above the average, that salary above the average you have to make up in other positions. And it's a lot harder to make that up in other positions than it is to make up in a medium to or a mid-tier quarterback. That's how the Browns made the playoffs this year. They didn't have
what is the problem with I'm sorry, TP, and I'll get off this. But what is the problem with Russell Wilson saying, "Okay, you paid me my money.
There's no
now you got to draft
so
properly. Why can't I have a little input in who you draft?"
Russell Wilson can have all the input he wants on who they draft. The issue is with Russell Wilson saying that, hey, you paid me all this money, and now I have a sucky offensive line, and my defense isn't as good as it was anymore. It's because you got paid what you did. Now you have to step up
the Packers
and make up.
They're paying Rodgers, and they made it to the NFC Championship game. So that
was because of Rodgers.
Tom Brady got his money this year. They won the Super Bowl. Mahomes got $40 million. They made it to the Super Bowl. So obviously those GMs are doing something right, and the GMs in Seattle ain't doing something right. So we can move on.
No,
okay.
I mean, let me finish real quick before we move on. Yeah, it's because they did something right. They drafted correctly past the first and second rounds, and not every GM has the capability of doing that. And not every GM, even if they were all equally as smart and equally as capable, it's not like every third round pick is successful. It's not like every fourth round pick is successful. So they have to make up the salary difference in draft picks at other positions. Whereas if you just made up a reasonably good quarterback, like a mid-tier quarterback, which is not that hard. It's not that hard to find a better than Kirk Cousins draft pick in any given draft. It's not. There are probably 5 to 7 better than Kirk Cousins. And don't get me wrong, I love Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is my boy. He was, when we were talking about the draft that year, he was my number 3 quarterback right behind Andrew Luck and RG3. So it's not like I disliked Kirk Cousins. But it's not that hard to find a better than Kirk Cousins quarterback in any given draft. And if you can do that, you can make the playoffs. And if you can do that, you could theoretically win a Super Bowl. Alex Smith is a mid-tier quarterback. He could make a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer was less than a mid-tier quarterback.
Whoa.
He won a Super Bowl.
Wait, Alex Smith could make a Super Bowl where?
He could. I didn't say he did. I said he could.
No, I know. I said where? Where?
Not currently. Not after his leg exploded into a million pieces. I'm saying prior to that, he could. He was a mid-tier quarterback at that point when he was on the Chiefs before Patrick Mahomes, and that team could have made the Super Bowl with Alex Smith. They didn't, but they could have.
They could have. Yeah, everybody could have.
Wait, hold on. That was the same Alex Smith with the Chiefs that had an entire season that he did not throw one touchdown pass to a receiver.
Exactly.
I mean, Travis Kelce is he is like the god tier of tight ends. I don't know if you know this, but Travis Kelce is like the best tight end in the league by far.
We're talking about.
We are talking about quarterbacks, but we are talking about quarterbacks. But we were talking about what he had and why he did not throw a tight end to a wide receiver. Is because Travis Kelce was there and he caught a bunch of touchdowns for Alex Smith. I don't blame him for using Travis Kelce.
How do you throw a tight end to a wide receiver?
No, you don't. That's what I'm saying. He never threw a touchdown. Never threw a touchdown to a wide receiver.
Okay.
He threw it to Travis Kelce and to god tier running backs. That's I'm not going to fault him for that.
Okay, I beg to differ. I don't think Alex Smith could have gotten to a Super Bowl before the injury. Whether that's why Kaepernick took his job. Kaepernick got that San Francisco team to a Super Bowl. Mahomes took his job. Mahomes got that team to a Super Bowl. You see what's going on here? Like, this dude just lost 2 different jobs like that. I'm not buying that one, James. I'm not. But look.
But you know what they didn't do? They didn't pay him like $50 million.
We can't talk about Alex Smith. We can't talk about Alex Smith on the show. Come on.
Right.
Moving on.
No, I love him. I love him now. After the segment that Alex Smith had, I love him and respect him, but I'm not letting that go down. But we do got people here that I have to get these topics to, and I have a scorcher because it's one sitting on the fire that's burnt right now, and I have to get this out here. So, Eric, your thoughts on the quarterback carousel that these guys, I think they all are going to be on the move. And I can't fault Russell Wilson for signing a contract. Well, that was last year that he just signed a contract and didn't think that this would happen. He would think that there'd be some turnaround. And he was kind of like giving the inkling like he would like to have some word on what's going on what's upstairs and things of that nature. But your thoughts on at least the 3 quarterbacks that have been mentioned between Dak, Russell Wilson, and Wentz, I don't know where Wentz is going to go. They're saying to go back to Chicago. I love the meme that I've been seeing that, it's a meme of him smiling that he's going to go to Chicago. And he said, wait a minute, Nick Foles is there, and then he gets mad. And then that's one of the things that had me cracking up. And it's like, would he like to go to Chicago? Should he go to the Bears? I mean, your thoughts on these quarterbacks that are popping up on the news as of today?
Yeah, it's interesting with Carson Wentz. I think the Bears would be a good fit for him, or even the Washington football team. That would be the 2 best landing spots for him. But I could see him getting having some type of feeling with Nick Foles being there. But in the big picture, he would be able to start there in Chicago. Even though Nick Foles is there, he'd be able to compete for a starting job. So, I think Carson Wentz, I think he's not a great quarterback. I think he's highly overrated in my eyes. So we'll definitely see what this next team where he gets to, and we're going to see if he is that star that Philadelphia paid him to be, or if he was just overrated and had that good season. So it's going to be interesting to see. But Russell Wilson, he wants to be involved with the team's decisions. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that should have been happening a long time ago. Russell Wilson should have had a say, you know what I mean, especially with the offensive line. Like everybody's touched on tonight, he's been just getting teed off on the last couple years. So they've had no offensive line. They get progressively worse with each year, and it seems like he has to carry him more each year, like this year. He carried him the whole year this year. They don't have that many weapons. They don't have a running game. So, Rashard Penny, we'll see what he can do. He's still young. But, Russell Wilson's getting tired of it, and I don't blame him over there. So I don't see him leaving there like in, this year. But definitely in a couple years, if it doesn't change, for sure he'll be out of there. And Dak Prescott, they offered him a 5-year, $175 million contract, and he turned down. So I think, like everybody talked to, too, Zeke got way overpaid. You don't do that. I think it was Barry that said these guys don't last long, and that's true. These guys are grinding. They got 3 to 5 years of dominance, and then they're wearing out. So you definitely don't want to break the bank, on a running back. So they should have paid Dak first, but Dak's going to be coming back from these injuries now, a devastating injury last year. So I could see why Jerry Jones, is hesitant to, do that $30 to $40 million a year contract. I wouldn't. I'd be hesitant. I don't know if Dak's going to be the same after that injury. So, see if they can, franchise tag him this year, see how he does, and then gauge it. But I would definitely be afraid to give this guy a $40 million contract now after this devastating injury. They should have paid Dak before Elliott got his contract. So it's interesting to see. Dallas has a little more problems, too. I think it's like the John Elway situation in Denver. Jerry Jones has to step down. Jerry Jones has to let these guys do their job. He hires the GMs. Let them do the job. Let them run your team. This is what these guys get paid to do. He's getting a little senile, and he's trying to live on a legacy of, the Troy Aikman days and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irving, and they haven't done anything since then. He's had teams with Tony Romo that, had potential. But again, he's not bringing in the right players. He overpays guys. He has these scouts and stuff. And the funny thing about him, he overrides. Like the GM and coaches and all these people will make a decision, and he'll be like, oh, no, well, we need to do this. Instead of them, like, I would trust the scout more than Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is just a billionaire. He doesn't know about football. We can keep it real. This guy is not a good football mind. Otherwise, the Cowboys would have won a handful of trophies by now with the teams they have. So, he definitely needs to, let go and just be an owner and get some football people in there to run this team. That's the problem. He's out there making these decisions, and they're not good decisions. So that's the problem with the Cowboys. So I'd like to see what happens with Dak Prescott. I think he's a good quarterback. Definitely has a lot of potential to be a star, but this injury that he got last year, there's some questions to see how he's going to rebound. But Jerry Jones needs to step down before the Dallas Cowboys make any progress, in my opinion.
I agree with you, and I don't like the Cowboys at all, but I'm going to say this. I want to see what he looks like after all of his therapy, and I want to see him bounce back, at least just to be fair for Dallas. But it's like, I know that the money they give him, they have to abide by him because they don't have a promise of tomorrow with any of them. Andy Dalton is like one interception away from being in the CFL or something. Like, I don't know where to put him. Like, he's done already. Like, he couldn't do it in Cincinnati. Been to the playoffs several times and couldn't get a win. And then he comes down here. And that game against Arizona, I can never get over that game in Arizona where I think Kyler Murray completed 8 or 9 passes and got blown out. Like, you had multiple times to get the ball downfield. There's no tomorrow in Andy Dalton either. DiNucci, they got him out of there as soon as they could get anybody healthy, and Griffin behind them. So, Dak is in a promising situation. I just wanted to know, what would you do if San Francisco went and got Wentz? That would be the crazy part. What would happen if the Niners went and got Wentz? That would be crazy. Okay, Sirius, your last breath of fresh air before it gets hot in the kitchen. For you, your thoughts on these quarterbacks and the potential moves that could be made between at least the 3 of them, even though there could potentially be more.
Honestly, man, I'm not going to waste too much time dealing with it. Dak Prescott, in my opinion, I think they'll probably franchise tag him one more year and let him walk after next year. I've said this several times. I do believe it's a 2-team race between Carson Wentz. I think he's either going to Chicago or going to the Indianapolis Colts. And as for Russell Wilson, man, unfortunately, I share a sentiment. You know what I'm saying? He has been arguably one of the most sacked quarterbacks in our game over the course of the past few seasons behind Kyler Murray. Both of them play a very similar style. Both of them both of them have crappy offensive lines. But wonderful receivers to get the ball to. And if we, once again, have not learned anything from what we just watched on Sunday, is that you really have to invest in the big uglies up front and give your playmakers time and the ability to get the ball down the field and subsequently into the end zone for you. So many times this season, specifically, we turn on the TV and see Russell Wilson, and we see Kyler Murray running for their lives. And, I think if I remember the stat correctly, I got to look it up, but Kyler Murray led the team in rushing touchdowns this year. And it would shock me if I pulled it up if Russell Wilson did the same thing. So at the end of the day, you really have to protect your guys. If we're going to do a draft show, obviously look at both teams to address the offensive line, free agency and things of that nature. I think they're going to really focus on protecting Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray.
Okay, Sports City. So it's been fun. We've had a lot of fun up until this point. It got real hot in this doggone kitchen. I didn't think that some of these topics that came out. And shout out to the villain, because the villain put some dishes on his table and everybody got hungry because mad people were taking the last jalapeno popper, and it just got out of hand. and I'm not gonna lie, Sports City, the smoke was wanted. I wanted to see all this smoke, and it got crazy, right? So I had to turn the vent on the oven and kind of get the smoke out of here. But now the gloves are off. The love is done. And listen, and it's on, right? So we sat right here in this doggone building, in this kitchen, and we had a GOAT talk, right? So now we have your boy. That's what he go by. He go by that slogan. Your boy Sirius from the 412, the 703, the 456, and the 90, whatever. I'm not trying to hear that no more, right? So he was coming for dudes' head, saying dudes was talking out of their scalp, like it wasn't gonna go down. So now, I'm like, yo, when it go down, you better come here. So he came here, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. But like I told him a little while ago, do not bark up that tree, because that tree will fall on you. Now, here goes the crazy part, people. I had to deal with this, and James can attest for this, because we were running shows together. I think back in 2013, 2012, I said Brady won't win another Super Bowl. James was right there. That boy went and won 3 more after I said that, right? And I'm like, wait, hold on, I gotta say, yo, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I'm chilling, I won't. So I had to start giving that GOAT talk up. I think it was after the 5th one. I think the 5th one, I was like, okay, he got it. You got it. I can't say no more. So then it's you still got people that still go out there and say, you know what, it's still Montana. You know what, pay a man to do more on the field. You know what? It's man, I don't care. You think it's just a debate, right? So then he wins his 6th, and it's I can't hear anybody. I want to be deaf to people that still want to have the chatter of thinking that there is somebody or a quarterback better than him in the game, right? So then we still have this discussion. We got to do your boy coming here talking about, you got to be out of your mind thinking this, that, and the third. I'm like, so what if he win his 7th? Then what happens, right? I ain't going to answer that question. Next topic. Trying to get me to walk away from it. Well, now the heat is on. You know what I'm saying? And in the words of the cop, when he talked to Kane, he said, you know you done effed up, right? You know you done effed up. So I want to see how y'all feel before we could get Sirius involved. No matter of fact, I want Sirius to go first. I'm tired of trying to save him, because he tried to say I was out of my mind trying to say that before I tried to save him. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know why his advisors ain't forewarned him. Yo, Jess should have talked to him. I bet you if I asked Jess, she'd have probably said, yo, Brady got it. I'm gonna get her on the show one day. I gotta get her up here. I got it, because they be having a Keystone battle like Philly, Pittsburgh. They go at it. You know what I'm saying? But serious, now I want to hear what you have to say. Is it still Montana? Are you going with Peyton? Are you gonna say Aikman? Are you gonna say Terry Bradshaw? I need to hear this discussion. Or do you join float with everybody else saying, it's Brady's the GOAT? He says bad every day. That's what does he say bad every day?
No, I'm still not there yet.
Oh my God! What's about to happen?
He gave you a chance.
Yo, listen, wait, hold on. What else do Brady got to do now? You tell me, because you're lying on air and you just got out of church on Sunday. You're lying. I need to know what else Brady got to do now. Now I need to know.
Jokes aside, all jokes aside.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the thing.
Listen, this is how I feel about Sirius right now. When Sirius starts talking that stuff like this is how I feel about Sirius right now.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Word up. Here's the thing for me, gentlemen. Here's the thing for me. For me, I want to. I want to hold on to that for the longest time. I do because again.
Oh my God!
In all seriousness, my point about why he is not quote unquote the GOAT, based off the context of the conversation that was given, was that he won the Super Bowl though. He won the Super Bowl though. He won the Super Bowl though. He was a passenger in a bunch of those wins. With that being said, for him to do what he did this year, for this man to literally, for the first time in his whole career, be on the road for the duration of his playoffs, go into Lambeau, go into New Orleans, go into the Saints, and win those games, albeit those games were not pretty, some of them. You know what I'm saying? To go on the road against the Washington football team, which is whatever, but I digress. But every time Tom Brady has made this electric run, they have had at least one, if not all, of their games at home. And for him to do what he did this past year, he can share the stage with Joe Montana. He can share the stage.
Share the stage. Oh, my God. I mean, TP, Sirius is my boy, man. It hurts me. Like, I'm Scarface and he's Manolo. Like, it hurts me that I gotta kill him and his whole squad for Dolo. Like, Sirius, let it go. Let it go.
I want to know how he was a passenger in the Super Bowl, in these Super Bowls, when the quarterback is the facilitator. So I want to know how he was the passenger. This guy's driving the bus.
He's not driving.
He's a passenger for 7 Super Bowls. I'd love to be a passenger for 7 Super Bowls.
I didn't say 7 Super Bowls. He got the win, but on
man, listen. Are you going to take one away from Ben Roethlisberger when he didn't do shit in his first Super Bowl win? You going to take that away from him, or he still got 2 rings?
Here's the thing. He got the win, but Ben Roethlisberger is never going to be in the GOAT conversation.
No, of course not, because he's a Steeler.
Oh, get the heck out of here.
No, I'm just messing with you. Seriously,
don't come here, Barry. Don't come here, Dylan. We can do this.
Yeah, get him, Barry.
Nah, man.
Get him, Barry. Get him.
Nah, come on. Seriously, listen, I love you like a brother, Serious. You know I do, man. I got nothing but love for you, but I can't let you do this anymore.
Yeah, this is complete insanity.
Don't reject me. Don't reject me, Serious. Come on.
Yes.
It messes with your soul like ether. It messes with your soul like ether.
Barry, hold on. Everybody settle down. Wait, hold on. We're gonna get back there. Hold on. Listen, because I say this whole segment. Seriously, you got a whole segment. This is I say the last quarter of the show just for you. This is post Christmas. Listen, I wrap this up perfectly. Listen. I got Heidi back in the building. David's here. I got him back. I want to hear how Brad responds to this. He's a guest, and I gotta keep people fed. You know what I'm saying? So okay. So first, Dave, your thoughts on what you heard here? Do you agree Brady is still the GOAT, or he's sharing the stage with, who did he say, Montana? They're sharing the stage now. So this is what's gonna bother me, right? Because now I was getting into saying okay, Brady's the GOAT. But it's if he go out there and win his 8th, it's that's gonna piss me off. Now it's retire. Dog, leave. Leave, because it ain't fair no more. Because you dominated football real bad. And then he's already giving qualms saying, "Oh, I want to play after 45." If this dude win next year play after 45, it's what do we do? What do we do? I don't want to see that. So let this dude ride out in the sunset. I'm surprised he don't retire now. Retire after the 7-1 and chill, yo. But, Dave, I'm going to go to you, then I'm going to get back to our guest, Brad, too. Your thoughts on what you've been hearing in this kitchen. You already got Eric saying that this is insanity. I mean, are you going to go along with it? Do you agree that Montana shares the stage with Brady? I mean, is there Terry Bradshaw in your mind? Brian Greasy because he went perfect? Johnny Unitas. I'm trying to give you all the people that you can pick. I'm going to give every little pick that you can. Montana, maybe. Are you going to go with Phil Simms? Are you going to go with, I don't know, Hostetler, Jim Kelly? Who?
I want to say that I love listening to all you guys. That's serious, man. Oh my God, you crack me up, and especially the nonsense you're talking right now. Like, oh my God, hilarious. But you know what? But one thing I'll tell a quick anecdote. I'm a season ticket holder for the Giants. I just remember I was at the 16-0 game, you know, before my Giants beautifully beat them, and it ended up being 18-1. But I was at that 16-0 game, and I remember when Tom Brady threw that what was the dagger touchdown to beat us in that game. It was in our corner. My seats are in the corner of the end zone. It was in our corner, and literally, like, I saw the ball going up, and like everyone was standing up, waiting for the play, you know, waiting for the everything, and I saw the ball rising before it even got to the top of its peak. I sat down because I knew I was like, ball game over. You know what I mean? And this was back then. Like, that's how much I believe in his just straight up ability. It was before the ball even got to the top of the throw. It was perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's had a few bad games more now than ever, but the fact that he's doing it now is just amazing. And I touched on it before I had to go, but it's like the fact that this year at 43, he made sure he didn't have his bad game in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, he played like the greatest of all time. I mean, he's the best.
Okay, serious. You buckle down. I still got Brad to go. Brad, your thoughts? I told you that this would happen. Now, mind you, you guys are brothers because you guys have like a stellar camaraderie. Even though that's not your team anymore, I respect you. You step back. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. But I mean, who do you put in this discussion, or do you still stand by what you said last week? Is it Brady or nothing?
It's Brady, and it's not close. I mean, let's be honest. This isn't even a debate. It's not even. I mean, I know we're all poking fun and laughing about it, but truthfully, there's no argument to be made here. If at a very minimum, Brady is the most accomplished player to play quarterback in the NFL ever, and you can't argue that. It's not even. That's something that is tangible. There's no debate to be made. This guy has done more in his career than anybody at the position. And think about this for a minute. He has actually been so good for so long, you could actually break up his career into 3 parts, and all 3 parts would be Hall of Fame worthy. So think about this. From 01, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, right? So just bear with me, guys. From 01 to 07, he had 86 wins. That's more than Roger Staubach. He had 197 touchdowns. That's more than Joe Namath. He had over 26,000 yards, more than Bob Greasy. He had 3 Super Bowls. That's more than John Elway. From 08 to 2014, he had 73 wins. That's more than Kurt Warner. He had 195 touchdowns. That's more than Kenny Stabler. He had another 26,000, almost 27,000 yards in that span. That's more than Bart Starr. He had another Super Bowl in that window, more than Dan Marino, of course. And then from 2015 to 2020, he had another 70 wins, more than Otto Graham. 189 touchdowns. That's more than Troy Aikman's entire career. He had 25,000, just shy of 26,000 yards. That's more than Sammy Baugh. He had an additional 2 more titles. That's more than Brett Favre. This guy is so accomplished, it's absolutely mind-blowing. No matter how you slice it, he has the stats. If you want to look at just Super Bowls, so that's just all the career stuff. Let's look at just Super Bowl records. So if you look at just Super Bowl records, he has the record 7 wins. He has a record 10 appearances. He has a record 5 Super Bowl MVPs. He has the most Super Bowl touchdown passes. He has the most Super Bowl passing yards. He's the only player that's played in a Super Bowl in 3 decades. He's now the oldest player to win a Super Bowl. He has the most Super Bowl completions. He has 6 Super Bowl game-winning drives, by far the most of anybody. He has 4 300-yard passing games, most ever in a Super Bowl history. He has 3+ passing touchdown games in 4 Super Bowls, most ever. And now he's the only quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl with an AFC and NFC team. It's just unbelievable, guys. There's no argument to be made. He's the best ever, hands down. Close the book. He was the best ever before this game was played. Heck, he was the best ever before the season started. But this Super Bowl, I think there was just maybe one argument, and it wasn't a great argument, but I think there was one argument that was maybe still on the table for the anti-Brady guys, and I think it was, and you heard it from some people where they'd say, well, you know, he had Bill Belichick and the greatest coach ever, and it was the system, and it was the Patriot system and this and that. Well, he just put that out like a cigarette, because what he did this year, going to a completely different team, Brady just proved that Brady makes the system. The system doesn't make Brady. He's the GOAT. It's over.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
What I was just saying. Seriously, there's a lot of food for you to eat here. I think this is what we call food for thought. I hope you can do these dishes, and you still think he shared the stage with Montana. Can this be like I don't know if you ever did.
So I'm a movie guy, right? And one of my favorite movies is Guess Who, right? And you know, when the late great Bernie Mac is sitting there with Ashton Kutcher, and they go back to the party, you know what I'm saying? Bernie Mac goes, "I was wrong." You know what? After those statistics, I have seen the light. Praise the Lord, hallelujah. TB12 is on the stage by himself.
Okay. We're getting
Thank
it.
you, Jesus. Lord have mercy, Father God.
You know what?
All right, serious. Now the big question is Tom Brady better than Michael?
Better than Jordan. Stop that. You just stop it, yo. Stop.
No, we're not doing that, because we'll be here all day.
Stop. Listen, I'm gonna do this quickly. If Brady could play both sides of the ball, if he could play offense and defense, then you can holler at me. Mike plays defense too, and wins defensive player.
Exactly.
Like you
can't compare the two sports. You can't do it.
Right. I don't want to do that, but they're trying. They want to try to do that, but that's crazy in itself, man. Like don't do that. Don't do that. But
yeah,
I mean, we
just got Bill Russell anyway.
Serious into the church. We just got him into the Church of Brady. We can't go in there and start reading from the New Testament. We just got through the Old Testament.
Like Ron said, I feel like Ron said, I feel like
you know what? And you know what? I don't appreciate the fact that it took a ringer. We had to bring a ringer and Brad in to get serious to see the light when we were preaching for weeks. Like you know how hard I was preaching. I had my purple robe with my heavy gold chain, sweating with my rag. My jerry curl was all sweated out. I was going crazy over here, and Brad comes in here, drops some knowledge from the Old Testament, and all of a sudden, Sirius is converted. Now he got baptized. He's unseen the light. Hallelujah.
Brad was playing with a big hammer.
Both sides, stick in my side. I've seen the light. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Like Nas told Jay, I feel like a proud dad watching his only son that made it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what just happened. Serious acting up, man. And just like he said, Brad had to give it to him. And just think about this. I like how Brad broke it down. And every quarterback that Brad mentioned was a Hall of Fame quarterback. Every last one of the quarterbacks that he mentioned that he was comparing those stats to, and all of them different stats from touchdowns to wins to Super Bowls, every last one of them are Hall of Famers. And that's combined into one guy. You know what else him by himself did? If you include Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, John Elway, and Brett Favre with their Super Bowl wins, he tied all four of them together. That is absurd.
Yeah, but Eli Manning beat Tom Brady, so he's clearly better. So.
If you want that, then I'll take the smoke for you.
He beat him twice. I mean, come on. I mean, clearly Eli is better.
No, you know what? I got a question. I wanted to ask you guys before we got going.
Barry was up here. It's already bad that Barry. Wait, hold on. It's already bad that Barry was up here cooking you. You don't need to get turned into a barbecue. Like I don't want to do that. Like Barry was up here flipping and filleting you. Like I don't want to do that. Like I'm trying to keep the peace.
Licking the chop.
I saved it more serious. I say, you know what? If you want to come back to the round table, we could turn this right back around next week, and you could be the last quarter of the show. Like, do you want this smoke? Do you want this smoke? Because I'll rally the troops like I was George Bush. I'm not playing around. I'm not playing.
All I'm saying was, I was right next to you the day when you said that he wouldn't win another Super Bowl after 3, and I said, you know what? He might win one or two more, and I was still wrong. I
apologize. I apologize on air. I always attest to that. I say I was the one acting stupid. I was the one acting foolish because he was on win 3 and he lost. You know what I'm saying? He lost 2 to the Giants. I was like, yo, he ain't getting back there. He done. It was like he heard me. He's like, what? What's this? After he won that 4th and 5th one, I'm like, I'm done. I won't say it again. I bet you won't hear me say he won't make it back there. I'm not even trying to add fuel to the flame. I want him to calm down. Listen, Brady, if you're out there listening, like, yo, chill out. Relax, like save some scraps for the other people. Like, chill. I'm done. You got it, bro. Like, I even got serious to attest to this. Like, I got him to, convince himself. Like, even though I had Brad come all the way from the West Coast to give it to him. Like, this is what I got to do. This is the measure that I got to take to get people to believe me. But, man, Sirius better not do it, because if you do it again, I'm
playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
So the one stat my friend, he didn't neglect, but you know what? The one thing that drives the whole point home is Tom Brady himself has more Super Bowls than any franchise in the NFL right now.
What, as in appearances?
No, I mean as in wins. He now has 7. Other team has 7.
Yep. He wins because the Patriots had the most, and now that he has more than them, he's got the most than anyone.
Yeah. The guy is tremendous. And I was watching something today. I wanted to ask you guys. They were saying Tom Brady's run this year was the greatest run through a Super Bowl, like in the playoffs ever. And I watched First Take, and I think so. TP hates it. I don't think so. I still think Eli's 07 run was better, but I mean, just look at how impressive this run was. I mean, you take out the Washington game. I mean, crap. But I mean, Breeze, Rodgers, and Mahomes is a hell of a run. And the only run that was better, I think, was Eli's on the road for all of them, just like Brady was. But I mean, going into Dallas, who they hadn't beat that whole year into Romo. Going into Lambeau, where Brett Favre, was 14-2 or 15-1, and then beating Brady in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a great debate.
Okay, so in that run, he beat 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Brady beat 3 Super Bowl MVPs in his run.
Yeah, but I mean, Breeze was not the same quarterback.
That was because you're missing one in the Eli run. I can't remember who it was.
Garcia.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah. Then you go to settle down.
Yeah, but Garcia was better than Henke. Garcia was better than Henke in Washington. So, and Tampa Bay had a pretty darn good defense.
And he wrote, and Washington defense played ball this year. Washington defense was good this year.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about the quarterbacks too. So I mean, like Henke, come on.
Right. Brady has to go against him, and I'm doing that.
But I mean, if you put Romo's season in 07 against Breeze's season this year, who was the better quarterback?
You said if I put Romo against Breeze's?
Yeah, if Romo's 07 season versus Breeze's season this year, who was the better quarterback?
Oh yeah, Romo's season. I'll give Romo that, but. Come on. He went into the Superdome where these guys are tough to beat, dude.
No. Listen, there's no arguing that. But I'm saying I still think Eli's run in 2007 was better than
Forest City.
Not by much.
Forest City.
Not by much.
I want to apologize because Sirius done slipped this boy a little Mickey on the side, and now Barry done converted back to this stuff. Like I had Barry seeing like hills, and sunshine.
At least he had a run. How many runs did Matt Stafford have?
Forest City. This is like when you watch. When you watch it. Like when you watch your favorite cartoon, and then you be like, yo, yeah, he did it. He got him to convert to the good side. And then next thing you know, he slapped dude in the back of the head. He fall down. Next thing you know, he go back to the bad side, and they go down the elevator. And you like, oh, man, like, serious? Like, what you do if you're down in the bottom of the cellar laughing? Ha, 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 ha. They be like, to be continued. And him and Barry high-fiving. This is exactly what just happened.
Get to your point. Jesus, get to your point. It's not even funny. I mean, come on, Matt Stafford. How many playoff runs have he had?
Like get lost. You're over there cheating like it's first grade picture day. I ain't James. I can go to war with you. That's a whole nother scenario. So we are at the tail end of the show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm smiling ear to ear so hard, like I feel like it's picture day for me because Siri just got cooked. James just came here and got cooked. Brad is in the building putting up a hell of a recipe. Like, Brad put up a recipe. Like, that's like lasagna. Like, man, I need a brick of that, Brad. I need a brick, bro, for real. So Brad, you know what to do because you've been here before. You already know how hot and heated this kitchen can get, especially on your second time being in the building in just 7 days, and it was here. And I'm actually mad that I couldn't get more out of you, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. Plug, promo, anything that you like to do before we shut the doors here at the Roundtable.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. It's always a blast talking with you guys, always a blast going over football stuff and breaking it all down. I really appreciate you guys having me back on the show. And for all you guys that have been listening tonight, I'm Brad Fowler, the host of Pint Glass Football Podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much any major player where you could find a podcast, you can find it there. And we just wrapped up Season 2. We did our Super Bowl preview episode and wrapped the season up. So going to be taking a break, but I'm going to be coming back in Season 3 in April. We do a bunch of NFL draft stuff. We go deep dive on the NFL draft. We love to break down all the prospects, all the top prospects. Going to have some great guests lined up and would love to come on the show again with you guys if you guys want to talk some NFL offseason or some NFL draft because it is always great to be on with you guys. So thank you so much again, and hope you guys have a great night.
Man, it ain't over, man. You ain't done. Don't think you running until April, man. We got a couple of days. I know we got some draft talk up our sleeve. I got some people that said they want to talk draft, and I know you enjoy yourself here. You can't just throw one recipe and leave. You can't give me food and just leave. Like no, you can't just leave. No. We're gonna talk this one out. You better get your cookbook together. I know that much. I'm not playing with you. I ain't serious and I ain't James. I don't get cooked in here. I cook. Okay. Now. Back to the program, because Brad is my brother. I rock with you. Heidi, you already know what you do. Thank you for coming in here. And thank you for putting a blessing on Sirius talking about that. That's just foolishness, nonsense, like you said it. But give me a closeout plug, anything that you like to promote before we shut the doors here at the Roundtable.
Yeah, I just love listening to the show. You guys rock. And, I forgot to say before, that was Randy Moss who caught that touchdown, too. I think you guys remember, so I probably didn't have to say it, but that's what it was. But anyway, awesome show as always. Glad to be a part of it. Thank you, guys.
You already know who know that play. Look, you already know who know that play. But look, it's funny. I couldn't laugh at it because I couldn't be a Giant fan watching it happen because it would have been bad. But it's funny thinking about that because right before that play, Brady did that. They went right up top, and he overthrew Moss, and Moss came back after running 60 yards, and Brady said, run it again. And they did the same play again, and Corey Webster and Joseph could not get there, and Moss was by himself. Incredible.
And
that
you
was
could tell the pass was perfect. Yeah.
Right. I could just see you trying to sit down while everybody thinking it's gonna be incomplete, because you know what's about to happen. That's the crazy part. All right, man. Let me close up some more, man. All right, Eric, you already know what to do, man. Epic stuff here in the building. I'm mad that I couldn't get you guys involved as much as I could. but the heat was here. Please tell somebody about this episode because this stuff was epic. Close out, plug, promo, anything that you like to do before we shut the doors here at the Roundtable.
Absolutely. Great show tonight, gentlemen. As always, it was a pleasure. Shout out to my boy Sirius for seeing the light. Hallelujah. And great show, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Brad, thank you for joining us, man. Hopefully we'll see you back here soon. And check us out, sportscitychefs.com. Check out the blogs, the merchandise, the shows. We'll be right back here tomorrow for some NBA action and roundtable talk with you guys. And shout out to Power 103 Radio. Everybody have a blessed night.
I see, now that be making me feel good because I don't even have to close out like I do because Eric be holding me down. And shout out to Eric, too. Eric put his bio up on the page, too. So, Sports City, you can get to know Eric and the things that he like. He put the 49ers up there, man. He even put the L.A. Kings. That made me want to fight him because the Kings stole one from my Rangers. I feel some type of way. Like, I want to, bite his kneecap off. Shout out to Dan Campbell and bite his other kneecap off and then get back up and bite a hunk out of him. Don't make me do the whole Dan Campbell speech because I'll go crazy because I don't even feel like biting kneecaps and hunks out of people. Like I'm not doing. Okay, so let me get the two cookies out of here because they both got cooked today. James, thank you for coming to the doggone Roundtable. I'm happy you came in here and took some lessons. And you and Barry haven't had some fires. And this was beautiful hearing this fire come out of you two. I need a closeout from you as we shut the doors here at the Roundtable.
So first of all, I did not get cooked. I've been laying this dish down for years. And first of all, I've been laying this dish down for years, and it just takes a while, just like Tom Brady. It takes a little bit of a while for everybody else to catch up to what I'm talking about. But I'm correct. Quarterbacks are paid too much. Eventually, the NFL will figure it out too, and the percentage of cap will go down for quarterbacks. But we'll wait for that to happen, and you can admit that I was right again. So until then, I'm James. I love the draft too. So if you guys are doing a draft show and I am available, I'll be there. Trust me. Later.
You come back here next week. Barry, I'm setting it up right now. Barry, you hear the Rocky music? You better go get him. You better go get him.
I'm about to fry him.
Listen. You better bring the smoke because he said he right. So listen, you better put a recipe together like Brad did. When Brad shut down Sirius and Sirius seen the light, James need to see the light. Listen, he needed. He needed. I just need a good spark, and I had to get him out of the way because I had to get Sirius involved. So I had to. So y'all bring your little tails back here. Y'all do what y'all got to do, and don't worry, James. I'm not letting Brad get away easy. That's not happening. So he better buckle up. He ain't seen the last of us until April. So he'll be right back getting his place and his knife shine. Okay, Sirius, since you were the topic. Oh God, this feels so good. This feels so good, man. I feel like I hit at the dice table. Okay, so you already know what to do. Close out as we shut the doors here at the Roundtable.
Man, that's your boy Sirius repping up 412 and the 703. Shout out to everybody who was in the building this evening. Great show. I'm gonna say this before I get out of here. Ric Flair is awesome. Forget Tom Brady. What's that, man? Tell me. I
keep something. I'm telling you, man. I keep something in here, man. Go ahead. Finish up, Sirius. Finish up.
Custom made from head to toe.
I tell you what, man. I stay suited and booted. Anyways, man, it's your boy Sirius, man. Again, something pleasure, man. Check out the website, the interview, the blog, man. Shout out to those who've been watching us and downloading the podcast and catching us on YouTube and all the other social media outlets, man. Shout out to my family who was listening probably and kind of giving me some feedback. Shout out to all those who are helping us out, man, and giving us love, man. We're doing big things, man. I'm definitely proud to be a part of it, man. Y'all be good, man. More willing to be back in the building tomorrow. I'm going to say this as I get out of here. Houston Rockets, tighten up. We done got blown out 2 nights in a row by two ball brothers. By two ball brothers.
Listen. I had a closeout going. Listen. I had a closeout for you when you was leaving. I was gonna hit you with it. Don't worry about it.
I'm sitting here watching it with the ugly face on, and also keep an eye on the Brooklyn Nets, man. The Brooklyn Nets been lost again. They done lost 4 out of the last 5, averaging. People are giving up. I think they're giving up like 120 points a game over that span. There's problems in Brooklyn. They need to get that addressed. We'll talk about that tomorrow, y'all. Y'all be good.
Listen, by the way, the Pelicans beat the Rockets by 29. I was going to close out with that. Listen. It ain't easy. It ain't easy for this last guy that's about to go. My co-host Barry the Villain, because his boy DA tried to listen. I'm gonna tell y'all something, Sports City. So your boy DA tried to hit me up. It's like, yo, the Knicks is taking care of the Heat. Like I'm like, yep. And guess who lost the game? Yeah. All right. So Villain, give me a closeout shout out as we close the doors here at the Roundtable, and I want you to answer. And I want don't huff and puff. You ain't the big bad wolf. Don't huff and puff. You tell people.
Don't play with me, man.
Listen, I don't play with.
I wasn't even the one that said anything. I didn't say anything about the Knicks all day. You want to bring up that Knicks
but
talk? Fine.
The reason why I'm coming at you today because I started that Knicks tape stuff in the show and all that other stuff, and then he started coming to me talking about the Knicks tape doing our thing, and then guess who? Just tell me who won and lost this game in the middle of Miami. You can finish up.
It's that's Miami.
No,
exactly.
That's my team.
And you don't see TP stomping down here thundering, huh?
Listen.
Huh?
The Heat was 9-14, and you said that's Miami. They 9-14. They just made 10-14.
They just played in the NBA Finals.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
They just got
because of the bubble.
This ain't no. We're not doing basketball right now. Let me get my clothes out so I can go. You always start starting some
Give me a close out. All right, give me a close out. We'll continue this tomorrow. We'll continue this tomorrow.
We'll be here tomorrow. You always starting some mess. I can't with you. Listen, go to the website, read the blogs. All right. Get the merchandise. We're waiting for orders. Y'all want your shirts and your mugs, Sports City Edition, the merchandise. Go get it. Go get it on the site. It's hot.
Yeah, I just got a Jeffrey shirt.
Exactly. We got to get this stuff popping. Everybody get your stuff. Rep us hard. We got things popping. You want to get a plug? You want a sponsorship? Holla at the chefs. We're gonna cook up something for you, lovely. Serious. I'm so proud of you, brother. I'm so proud of you, man. Listen, they could testify the inner spirit, living in the true Lord. Got more lyrics than churches got. Ooh, Lord. You know what I mean? He's back. He's back, baby. So listen, Sports City, you know what we do. We doing it big. We got lots of plans. We got a lot of things going on, man. Just support us. We working with Power 103. Listen, man, we doing it big. We got shows coming. I got people on the blogs. We got people just dying, banging the doors down to get with the chefs, man. Come on in. We waiting for you. Come on in.
Hot fudge coming on in. Good Lord.
Good Lord.
Like Sports City, y'all don't even know what I go through with these people, man. I'm up here fighting serious. I'm up here fighting to keep Brad in here. Eric hit me up every day like, I can't wait to get up in here. You got to let me get like 5 dishes. I'm going to scorch these people. I'm like, yo, E, chill out, man. I know I got to keep E back because he be holding me down. Like, he be like, y'all don't like when they come for you. I be like, yo, E, just chill, dog. Just chill. I got us, man. Don't worry. And then when they started talking this Knicks tape stuff and getting everybody all rowdy, man, everybody like, yo, Ty, you let them talk Knicks tape? I'm like, yo, dog, you think I want this to happen? Like, you think I want this to happen? And then I had to get the calming sensation of Brad to just shut this joint down with 3 different portions of Brady's career to give Aaron Sirius Simmons. You lucky I don't know your middle name because I would have put your whole government up here. But Aaron Sirius Simmons to finally see the dog on light. Sports City, y'all don't even know how I feel right now. I'm happy. Like, I feel like I'm shedding happy tears. Like happy tears. Like, your team won the championship. You just that I feel some type of way. But SportsCityChefs.com, check out the website, the interviews, the blog. We'll be back here tomorrow with the cookout. Anything goes. Any topic that comes to mind is going down. James, if you want to come back up here and get scorched You can't because the grill will be wide open. I know Sirius won't jump out of his pocket no more because he could get lined up too. Man, y'all don't want no smoke in this building.
Better than that.
On that note, tell a friend. This is Chef again. And if they don't know, now Sirius knows.
Sports City, chef. Sports City, chef. Sports City, chef. Sports City, chef. Kaboom! Sports City chefs is in the room, cooking up hot topics to put up on your spoon. They well in tune, bloom like a flower in June. Superman vs. MF Doom, the clouds loom. So tell a friend it's the Sports City chefs again. Pay attention, tune in, we on the set again. Sports City, chef. Sports City, chef. Yeah. Captain, Taj.
Connecticut.
Connecticut, baby.